So really, thanks to Pro Football Focus for giving us so much entertainment and content over the past couple of days, even giving us something to talk about in what is usually considered a dead period of the NFL. Caleb Williams is apparently supposed to be the breakout star, the breakout quarterback of 2025, which, okay, he was finally good last year. I think in any other season without Jaden Daniels, it would be one of the most celebrated rookie seasons of all time. However, in the context of what was going on with not only Caleb Williams, but Drake May was good. Bo Nix was excellent. Like, okay, it kind of gets lost in the wash. Maybe Caleb is going to break out. Here's the thing, though. Pro Football Focus, and I know it's different people. They had somebody who was like, hey, here's the ceiling, here's the floor. And I want to think for Jaden Daniels, it was like the ceiling is Lamar Jackson. The floor is Jameis Winston. I know that's not correct, but it was something, another pro. For Caleb Williams, the ceiling is Jordan Love. Well, I'm sorry, what? The ceiling is Jordan Love. So, okay, and the floor is a bust. The only person who is listed with not a player comp for the floor, but just a bust. And it's like, first of all, so Caleb's already better than his ceiling because he's better than Jordan Love. So I don't know what they're thinking about there. And he's obviously not going to be a bust, not with Ben Johnson, unless he just quits, unless he just up and retired. I don't think that you could call him a bust. It's just, I don't know. I think they just want us to talk about Pro Football Focus, and I will say congratulations. You got me. You got me hook, line, and sinker. You got me suckered in to sitting here and talking about your dumb list in the middle of the end of June, I should say. But that's exactly what you wanted. Mission accomplished for you guys. But we got a great show coming up, special edition. So, Sammy, let's go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois, the sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on a very special edition of the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. As we're sitting here, wanted to let everybody know we are going to be starting our fantasy football coverage in just a matter of days. And to do that, I wanted to bring in one of my good friends. He is the CEO of the Golden Gate, the downtown Las Vegas Event Center, and the place we just mentioned in the open, Circa Las Vegas. He is the man. It is Beverage Dave Rosborough. Dave, how are you doing, buddy?
Every day gets a little bit better than the last one. It is the best damn day of my life. Thank you so much for having me, Rank.
You know what? One of the great things about our friendship over the last at least decade is that, you know what? We both have cool gigs. And I agree with you. Like every day just gets better and enjoy it more and more. I think you have the only job that I'm envious of, but I won't go out there and say that. But I also want to point out for anybody who's not listening to us live, if you're catching back up, I've been wanting to get you back onto the show.
Yeah,
but today,
thanks, man.
No. And today is a momentous day in the history of Las Vegas. And I don't know if we can pull this up. Shield Sammy's eyes. The crazy girls are back. The crazy girls are back in Circa Las Vegas. Now, Derek Stevens, the owner, him along with his brother, owned the Riviera back in the day, or had a piece of the Riviera back in the day.
Had a piece.
Speaking of peace, how did we get this statue back? I love the Vegas history.
It's huge. So we are so excited to be able to give the Crazy Girl statue a new home here at Circa Las Vegas. And, you know, Derek had a piece of the Riviera as a minority holder for a while prior to closure. And as they were starting to ramp down operations, and it was clear that the LVCVA was going to take ownership of that land for an expansion of the convention center, the first thing that Derek endeavored to do was get his hands on that statue. And it wasn't available. but he never really let up. Through a friend of ours, Scott Robin, he kind of reinvigorated the conversation. And then it's one of those kind of overnight deals that was a decade in the making. So it's been hot and heavy over the last couple days. And we had a wonderful press conference with the statues and 7 of the crazy girls that span every generation of the show. This is a show that
Mhm.
was in town for over 30 years. So
Right.
all the way from the very, very first cast to the last cast before they closed down, we're all represented on Wednesday. And tonight we get to unveil it in its new home at Circa.
I can't wait. Circus did a great job. Not only the Crazy Girl statue is there, Vegas Vicky is there, some of the other prominent statues from Glitter Gulch and Glitter Gulch as a whole and Fremont Street. So paying homage to the history of Las Vegas, which is something Derek has been doing a great job of. And I remember as a 21-year-old, staying at the Westward Ho. You would always make the trip over to the Riviera. Listen, it was a classy time of our lives. Westward
Yeah.
Ho, Stardust, Frontier, and the Riviera, going up and down and really enjoying that era of that section of Las Vegas, which is I remember it fondly. So
Yeah. And it's such a meaningful time for those that have an opportunity to experience it.
yeah.
And Circa, if nothing else, endeavored to just give the tip of the cap to everybody that came before us, because there's no shot that Circa would have ever came to be in the absence of all of their contributions and all of these little elements that made that Vegas experience special. Going back to the Stardust, I learned how to
Yeah.
swim in the Stardust pool.
Oh wow.
So when you get those little experiences, so Derek was speaking beautifully the other day about what the Crazy Girl statue meant to him. That
Mhm.
every single time he came to Las Vegas, the first thing he and his guys always did was make their way down to the statue, rub it for good luck, and then the Vegas trip could begin. That was a kind of a symbolic element of the commencement of their Vegas experience. And that's not Derek alone. That was the
No.
case for a lot of folks. So to be able to reoffer that in a meaningful way while respecting what that show, what this statue means for the history of the city, we're really lucky to have it.
No, it's unbelievable. And obviously, when you look at the wear and tear of the statue, Derek was not the only one who felt the same way. Similarly, that was, again, one of the homage that you would go to do. We'd go see Michael Kennedy playing in the a Vegas impersonator who played at the Westwood Ho, get a 75-cent Coors Light across the street, go see the Crazy Girl statue. And it's funny because now this is going to be a new tradition that any time now that I return to Las Vegas, and I go to the Circa quite often, I will be down there. And it's funny too, because the Stardust has been torn down. Riviera has been torn down. Tropicana is down. And I'm sad about all of those. The only one I'm not sad about is Vegas Club. And it's because the Circa's there. You're like, okay, that was one that I'm like, that was cool. Absolute upgrade. And I love being there.
Yeah, thank you. It was time, Vegas Club has a special place in Vegas history.
Yeah.
But if there's one constant in this challenge, in this town, it's change, and
Yeah.
we got to keep growing and making sure that we're providing best in class experience for those that come and hang out with us. And it was time for a new offer in that dirt.
And if you ever find the Running Rebels photo that was in by the Casey at the Bat Bar, I want dibs on that. That should be displayed at some point. But I do want to talk a little bit, though, because Circa has also become like I think it's like how Canton is for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think Circa has now become that for fantasy football. And a big reason why is because everybody wants to go and hold a draft there. And for full transparency, Dave and I are on a text chain right now talking about our own personal draft, which will be happening in August. But the Scott Fish Bowl is one of the biggest fantasy football leagues around, and it's a huge endeavor. Virtually everybody connected to the fantasy football industry is a part of the Scott Fish Bowl. And over the last weekend, Scott Fish Bowl 15 kicked off at Circa Hotel. How did this come about? How did you guys take the forefront here as the leaders of fantasy football?
So that is really, really high praise coming from anybody, let alone you. So thank you very much for that. I, as you know, love fantasy football. So to be able to be affiliated with that part of the season for so many folks that come to town. We take it really seriously. It's a big deal. And I know that, I mean, you and I have had the conversation that fantasy football is amazing, but the best part of every year is getting together with your people. And that kind of sets the tone for what will be enjoyable banter for the rest of the season. So we are so privileged to be able to house it for folks. And much like the rest of Circa, we built the experience in the way of what we would want to have when we come to Vegas. So whether it is a really nice hospitality suite or a convention room, or in the case of our friend Scott, doing the Scott Fishbowl drafts out at Stadium Swim, I would confidently, biased as it may be, say that we have best in class offerings that are tailored by fantasy football players for fantasy football players. Um, not to besmirch, local bars and haunts and things like that. They have their place, but from our experience of doing drafts there to this really over the top experience with the guys that in all likelihood you only get to see once a year, it is a absolute blowout experience that will be memorable. So we had the privilege of meeting Scott 3 years ago, who's an amazing guy, as you know, and everything that he does with Fantasy Cares is just out of this world. So 3 years ago, we got to host our first draft with him, and now it is kind of ballooned up to where we hosted 5 different divisions this year. All amazing people, really good drafts, and it's such an early excuse in the calendar, relatively speaking, to celebrate fantasy when we're all just itching to talk about football. So then we get a couple dozen folks that we can just nerd out with. It was a wonderful time.
Oh, it was amazing. And I was actually going to ditch the LA live event to go to Las Vegas this year. Unfortunately, the schedule didn't quite work out. I'd already committed to a comedy show over the last weekend. So I got jealous because our friend Laquan, who does the Rams podcast, he was out there, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I wish I could have made it work. I should have figured something out. I don't know. Next year, I won't let that opportunity pass by. But it's cool. But it's also the great thing about Circa too. And again, I know we're not trying to run down any other hotels or anything like that. I've done it all over Las Vegas. I've done it all over Southern California. For my money, and this is a thing, and this is what we pushed our friends to do. I mean, it's easy for you, selfishly, but it's like, this is what we want to do. And last year was the first year that we actually got everybody to Circa, and everybody was into it, and it was a great time. And we're probably going to go 10 for 10 with 10 people showing up this year. So it's going to be great. But also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the other things that are going on with Circa, because not only can you host your fantasy football draft there, you got some cool contests going on. Can you talk a little bit about a couple of those contests?
Yeah, I was looking forward to talking about this. So while you're out here doing your fantasy football draft, which I guarantee it will blow it out for you, it'll be the best draft experience you've ever had, you can sign up for the largest football contest in the world. So Circa has really taken a leadership position in this area, where we just introduced a third contest now. So we have 3 contests that we run every year. I'll get to the new guy in a second, but of the 2 that we run, they are the best and biggest contests in the entire legal market. So Circa Million is your traditional pick 5 games against the spread every week, and you run season long. The beauty of this is really twofold, in that the winner is guaranteed to get $1 million. We pay out every quarter. At the end of the season, we pay out the top 100 spots, and of the overall prize pool, it's a $6 million guaranteed prize pool, regardless of however many people sign up. $6 million guaranteed is in the pot. Then we go over to kind of the crown jewel of our contest endeavors, and that's Circa Million. Circa Million started as just a humble shot in the dark, that this survivor pool concept that had proliferated college groups and offices forever, had never been able to be executed at scale. We thought we could uniquely do it at scale. So we offered a $1 million guarantee 5 years ago, oversubscribed that year, all the way up to last year. We paid out $14.2 million in the Circa Survivor football contest.
Wow.
This is the normal pool that you already played in. It's one team, no point spread, just pick them to win every week. Once you use that team, you can't use them again. Single elimination.
Like a
Every
survivor
year,
pool. People
it's a
do.
survivor pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this year, in honor of paying out $14.2 million last year, $15 million guaranteed.
Wow.
Um, Third and finally, we identified pretty early on that there is this kind of higher stakes market that was kind of looking for something that would have a smaller pool, in all likelihood, not get all the way to the end of the season, with a higher buy-in. And this year, we are kicking off Circa Grandissimo, which is $100,000 buy-in. Same contest format as Circus Survivor with the Survivor pool, but this is going to be that high stakes version of it, with every entry getting this huge Grandissimo package for the weekend, where we're going to fly you out on JSX. We're going to put you in the nicest suite here at Circa. Chef Barry's going to cook you dinner, and then you got this really high level badge of honor that you get to participate in. That one's got $1.5 million guaranteed, regardless of how
Wow.
many folks sign up.
That is unbelievable. Like, that is just, and it's one of those things too. A lot of the survivor is always the best. And I know too, as somebody who, I don't do this, I'm not allowed to do this, but the survivor is good because there's always that one team every week. Cause like, who was it last year that people were like, I think it would eventually be, and no disrespect to you, Dave, because I know you're a Browns fan.
Yeah.
Who are the Browns playing? And you play that team, but eventually it catches up to you at some point. That is, how do you guys do it? How is this possible? How is Derek not going broke doing all these games?
You know what, man? He's got brass ones, so he puts up his own money in order to gain the momentum, and then he's been right every time. The market has wanted these really well run, organized contests that you don't gotta just do a survivor pool with your buddies in the office. We can scale it
Yeah.
up for you. And the beauty of these things is that you got to come to Vegas one time.
Yeah.
Which, tell you what, when you do, I'm going to buy you a beer and we're going to have a great time anyway. So you're going to be happy with that decision. But after you come to Vegas and sign up at Circa one time, you can play from anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And it's been great. We've made a lot of really wonderful new friends out of this. The emotional roller coaster of Survivor is something that I appreciate, that I can watch from afar, since I'm not able to participate in it myself.
Yeah.
But it's been huge. NFL is so special. The world's largest sports book at Circa on a Sunday morning makes the hair stand up on your arms. But even more so when you got a couple of your buddies there that have their pick on the line for Survivor.
And it's amazing too. I was talking with Anello before the show started, before you came on, is when we do our draft, I go, the cool thing for me too was like last season, Arsenal was playing before our draft, and going out, and seeing Arsenal on the big screen. It's so amazing. So you don't even have to be going out there for football to enjoy it. But I do want to point this out for anybody who's going out there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to embarrass you, but I saw this the other day, and if we can pull this up. So you guys have a package, the all-in summer hotel package.
Yeah.
$400 for two nights. $400 for 2 nights, but $100 in dining credit and $100 in beverage. That can't be correct.
Yeah, it's a play we've run for a couple summers now. It seems to just keep getting better, and it is the only element of the casino business that hasn't been subject to inflation.
Yeah.
So we're keeping that baby a really good value for everybody. It's soft in Vegas in the summer. That's been the case forever. But as folks need a little getaway for a couple days, we wanted to put forth a really compelling value-based proposition for a luxury experience at Circa. So everybody wins. It is very well received. So it's a package that we proudly offer because it almost guarantees we're going to get you back later that year.
Of course, and it's basically $100 a night because you get the beverage credit, you get the food credit. If you see Dave walking around, you're probably going to get a couple extra beers out of him that way too. So I don't know how people pass this up. Did want to ask you one last thing though before we get. I know you're very busy. You got to go get the Crazy Girl statue out there. I don't know if you can speak to this, but early money Are people believing in Vegas? Are they believing in the Bears? Are we seeing a lot of action on the Bears? I don't know if you can talk about that or anything of that nature, but I was just curious.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the betting volume goes, that's going to ramp up as you'd expect, as we get to the end of summer. But as far as early returns go, in a really crowded NFC North, there is a lot of buzz about the Bears,
Yeah.
understandably so. It's almost all good news coming out of Chicago.
Yeah.
With Circa Sports Illinois, we have more and more friends there, and to see, what I would classify as kind of a tortured fan base over the last 2 decades,
It's fair.
to have this degree of merited enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
The money's coming in as you'd expect it to. It's an exciting time. They got the guy behind center. He has weapons to use. The defense is looking compelling. The offensive line is getting shored up in a meaningful way. So we're getting the little ticky tack bets across the board, but we are getting more Chicago money than you would normally expect at this time of year.
I love that you use the phrase merited, because me being the number one culprit of this, have blown up the Bears time and time again over a number of years. So I feel, again, merited for the first time in a long time. And so I appreciate that. And I also want to say that I appreciate you. I know you're very busy. Even though you said it was a soft period, I know you guys got a lot of stuff going on at Circa this weekend. You got the slap bet. I'm a How I Met Your Mother fan, so I just now think the slap fighting is a slap bet to me.
Circuit Courts does offer betting markets on Power Slap, so you weren't that far off.
I knew I got it wrong, but so many great things. Listen, we'll get you back later on in the summer when we're ramping up more of our fantasy football coverage. But just wanted to get that in right now. I thought it's important for everybody because, again, with Scott Fishbowl happening, if you guys are looking, and I wanted to get this out there before it got too late, if you're looking for a place to host your draft this season, I implore you to check out the Circa Sports down in Las Vegas. Or if you're in Illinois, Circa Sports Illinois will also be as fun, but you want to fly out to Las Vegas. But Dave, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me, man. It is so great to see you, and I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks.
And with that, we'll sign off. So for Dave, I'm Adam. Sammy, play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcast. Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois.